The Long Halloween. We are at the end, the very last episode of Batman, The Long Halloween, Chapter 13, Punishment. I'm so glad to be done with this.
I just want to take this moment to go ahead and take Blade Trinity off the board here.
Wrong podcast.
Wrong podcast. It all starts to run together after a bit. I thought we were doing the worst movie draft here.
Oh, man.
That would be number
That's
one.
it.
I refuse.
The worst movie draft. Everybody knows they'll know who I am because the number one with
The
a bullet,
Room?
The Room.
All right. You've heard those voices, man. Let's get around the table. It's Brian. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Doing well.
Excellent. Ninja Dave is in the house. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I think we should all go ahead and take our shots of Screwball.
We have
Yes.
shots of peanut butter whiskey. Brian has Bang energy drink. I can't read you all the time.
Oh, Jermon has.
Jermon's got the Bang energy drink.
Yes.
People keep confusing us all the time.
I know.
I get it.
Oh, what,
We
did
get
I-
it
did
a
I say
lot.
Brian?
Yes.
Come on, Seed. We got to get you.
Let me see if I can reach that far over here. There we go. Thank you to Ninja Dave for providing this shot. And, of course, our Mark Jermon Jackson is also in the house as well.
I am.
So, man, the final chapter of The Long Halloween. Let me... Listen, I tried to... There's a lot of shit that happens in this.
Yes,
issue.
there's a lot
There's
to
a lot.
unpack.
And
Extra length issue.
Yeah, I tried to sum it up as best I can. Here we go. Alberto Falcone reveals himself as Holiday, thank you, Dave, and prepares to shoot James Gordon. The fallen guard that we talked about in the last episode rises and attacks Falcone, beats him to a pulp, and when he is done, he takes off his armor and reveals himself as the Batman. Gordon arrests Alberto for the murder of Salvatore Maroni. Off the board now. When the word is known about the identity of Holiday, Carmine Falcone visits his son Alberto in prison and offers him help getting out with no consequences. Alberto refuses, given the fact that he's made a name for himself and he's now bigger than any member of the Falcone crime family. I don't know about that. Alberto faked his own death.
Well, I mean, he is now.
I mean, the crime family's been operating for decades.
I mean, when you kill off most of the crime family.
You're not wrong there.
Yeah.
Alberto faked his own death to throw them off while he continued killing people on Halloween night, as it is today, if you were listening to this when it goes up. James and Barbara visit Gilda at her home. The woman is still worried for her husband, as there's been no signs of him. Later in Arkham Asylum, someone is setting some of the most dangerous inmates free. The mysterious man approaches Calendar Man's cell, flips a coin inside whether or not to set him free. In the end, he leaves a Calendar Man in his cell. That is setup. At Falcone's penthouse, Carmine is furious because Alberto has been sentenced to die and he still refused his father's help. On the outside, someone is taking out all the Falcone guards by killing them. The power in the whole building is gone, and Carmine is left with his daughter, Sofia Gigante, to confront whoever has entered the building. They follow the trail of the dead security guard bodies until they arrive at Carmine's office, where they're confronted by a group of what Falcone would call freaks. Solomon Grundy, Mad Hatter, Joker, Penguin, Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, Catwoman, and the mysterious man are waiting for Carmine to get inside. The leader of the gang reveals himself as Harvey Two-Face. Batman shows up and takes the enemies one by one. Two-Face has taken Carmine Falcone as a hostage. Two-Face tosses a coin and it lands on the scarred side, and thus Two-Face shoots Falcone twice in the head. If you ask me, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Sophia is enraged and tries to attack him while Catwoman tries to hold her. Their struggle leads into the window where Sophia stumbles, crushes it with her weight, and falls down from the building. Batman tries to make Harvey surrender. Two-Face tricks him, knocks him down with a weapon, and now we come to the most important part of the story. Finally, we've all been waiting for it. Harvey Two-Face goes to District Attorney's office and confronts Vernon Wells.
Fuck yeah.
That rat-ass Vernon.
Two-Face realizes that Wells is the person who gave Maroni the acid the day of the trial, and with the flip of a coin, Harvey kills Vernon.
And he did not make it as slow as I would have liked. But
No. Batman arrives late at the scene and finds Two-Face coin at the same time the bat signal is lighted in the sky. Batman arrives at the GCPD headquarters, finds Two-Face waiting for him. James Gordon appears on the rooftop, and Two-Face explains to them that he just did what the city needed to be rid of organized crime once and for all. He turns himself in and tells Gordon to arrest him in order to let the system decide his fate before Two-Face is taken away. He tells Batman and Gordon that there are two holiday killers all the time. Gordon goes to his family, where he decides that despite the events, he must go on with his mission to make Gotham a better city by telling himself, "I believe in Gotham City." That's about the dumbest thing Gordon has ever said. Batman is sure what he is doing is of consequence, and he won't give up on the promise made to his parents. Batman tells himself, I believe in Batman, not narcissist at all. And Two-Face is sent to Arkham Asylum, where the only thing he can think of is his wife, Gilda. On Christmas Eve, Gilda is packing up boxes for her to move away from Gotham, but before she leaves, she takes a box down to the basement furnace. She describes aloud to herself why I never could figure out, because there's nobody else around, how she read in Harvey's case files about the removal of the serial numbers on guns and how baby bottle nipples can be used as silencers. I call nipples pepperoni top hats. She then... I'm sorry, I lost my place there. She then removes from a box a .22 pistol and drops it into the flames of the heater, along with a familiar-looking coat and hat. She claims she took it upon herself to start the holiday killings in an attempt to end the Romans' hold on Gotham and thus lighten Harvey's caseload so that they could have a child. I wonder if she had that conversation with Harvey. Her belief is that Harvey took up the killings on New Year's Eve and that Alberto was lying to the police with his confession. And she also says that she knows Harvey will eventually be all right and they will reconcile, as she tells herself, I believe in Harvey Dent, which is my favorite line in this entire book. And I love that they use that as well in The Dark Knight, the I believe in Harvey Dent button.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
a lot of shit goes down. So, Jamon, you thought you had it all figured out.
I'm making a confession here. I literally read this last night.
Yeah.
Because for the first time, because I was like, okay, all ready for this podcast and all this stuff. Oh wait, I didn't even read the fucking book yet.
Yep, I got all my notes together and I was maybe I was scrambling at 10 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, but so I read it last night and then I was like, holy shit, that was a bombshell. That was an absolute bombshell.
You didn't record yourself. You didn't record.
I did not. I should have.
I forgot about that.
But I was like, oh this was like Usual Suspects type shit. Like,
what the fuck?
Yeah,
It is, yeah. And I always, but like the whole time, and I've mentioned this a few times on the podcast, it's like the identity of the holiday killer, it has to be someone you don't know from like modern continuity, right? Somebody who hasn't had any impact, because the holiday killer was one and done.
Never a thing.
Never came back, never resurfaced.
Right,
Yeah.
and so Gilda makes sense in that regard, because she never comes back, I don't think.
Here's a question. Would you be all right if a Batman writer brought Gilda back as the holiday killer? Or do you think this should just stay as it is?
I think it should probably stay as it is. I think if a holiday killer came back, it should be somebody totally different. And I don't think I'd be as opposed to that, as long as somebody good was writing it.
Yeah, because didn't they recently say they were actually bringing the Phantasm?
Phantasm's coming into continuity now in
the current Batman run. Right?
Batman Catwoman, Tom King's Batman Catwoman.
I think I like the idea of the holiday killer not being anyone specific. It just continues to change hands and change roles, change people.
You got some new glasses there, Dave?
No. Everyone's been saying that. No,
Hey, you know,
serious?
you know who got some new glasses? Alberto.
Yes. He's rocking the horn rim glasses, the Malcolm X's.
Oh God, yeah, he looks so creepy once he's in custody.
Yeah.
Those
With
glasses,
his actual glasses. Yeah.
when he's just sitting there like smoking, and he's got those glasses, like this is a smarmy son of a bitch.
Because he looks like he doesn't even fit in the clothes he was wearing, like when he was the holiday killer.
Right.
Like he looks like with some kids under a trench coat. Like,
the old three kids,
Yeah.
the little rascals trick. And in the military, it looks like those are the glasses that we got. Like those are your issued glasses. With
Are
your
they?
description.
Because
And we
this
called
one panel makes it look like his eyes are painted on the glasses, so it's like those glasses that you could fall asleep in the back of the room wearing.
we called those the BCGs, the birth control glasses, because no woman is talking to you when you wear those glasses.
No sir, no sir.
So let's get down to it, man. Jamon, is this a satisfying ending for you?
absolutely. Like even when it was Alberto, I was like, okay, that's cool, but I was like, how are they gonna wrap this up? And then when you get that Gilda bombshell, I was like, oh shit. And then you backtrack and it's like, that actually makes sense. 'Cause I was thinking back to Identity Crisis, because that had kind of a similar
Gene
ending.
Loring's, it was the same sort of thing.
Kind of almost the same,
I mean,
On the same motive, basically.
I'm not going to say we didn't mention Identity Crisis numerous times.
Yes, yes, yes.
You dropped that bomb quite a few times.
Yeah. I think this is as far as not even a superhero story, but a crime story.
Yeah.
This is a great fucking story.
Oh, absolutely.
With a great twist at the end of it.
Yeah, it puts everything in a whole new context where you see the toll that this life takes on people. You know.
Yeah.
How it twists Gothamites.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know anyone who chooses to live in Gotham. Is just,
Yeah, there's a certain element you have to expect when you live in Gotham.
like you got to know your
Now-
fucking insurance is going to be
Yes.
high as shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just keep thinking because I keep
Your
thinking
car's
back-
gonna get fucked up at some point.
because I keep thinking back to those scenes in the Dark Knight trilogy, those car chases and shit like that, and how much property damage is just like when Batman in the Dark Knight is on the Bat Pod and just running through just knocking off mirrors off of cars and shit like that with no regard and
no regard. And also, kind of upset that they never brought the Narrows back after Batman begins.
Yeah.
Because that's a cool. I wish that's something that they bring into.
That would have been nice to wrap it up, or to do a continuation with John Blake's character. Maybe he finally
God,
goes and
yeah.
tries to clean up the Narrows or something like that.
Gotham is the shittiest city.
Yeah.
And the Narrows is the shittiest part of the shittiest city. There's some shitty shit that happens in the Narrows.
The shittiest of the shit.
The shittiest. I want a whole Narrows series to see what goes on. Dave, do you remember your reaction the first time you read this back?
Absolutely.
In the day?
It's about the same as the reaction reading it this time. I did not like the Gilda reveal.
We have some.
I got
heat here.
see now I got the impression you were unhappy with the way this ended, as the subtle sort of comments we've made throughout this show, that wait till you get to that ending. You know, it's like it doesn't quite connect. It isn't quite as satisfying, right?
Right, yeah. I would say that because Gilda, I mean, this holiday killer who's been so elusive, so planning, so on top of things, just turned out to be, Harvey's wife. She doesn't seem to have had any kind of it seems like they kind of Mary Sued her up a little bit, She didn't really have. I mean, she read case files to get information like that, but how does she know how to cover her tracks? How does she know how to discreetly kill these people over and over again?
Aside from being a weak, unassuming female,
right? Well,
right, who ends up in the hospital on day one of all this shit, right?
Right.
I have no problem with someone who's quote unquote weak, physically weak, what have you. But she does nothing that's in her history that we've seen that even remotely leads us to believe that she is capable of doing.
The same argument could be said for Alberto, though, right?
No, I could accept Alberto because he at least is part of a crime family.
He's part of a crime family, and we never get a body. In the original version of this, we never saw a body. And I think that's, again, why those extra panels, extra scenes were added to later editions of this story.
Kind of throw it off a little.
But I also have to think that part of the reason Gilda was one of the killers at the end is because people figured out it was Alberto. And we've talked about Armageddon 2001 on this show before.
Those red herrings.
Yeah, as this thing that the readers kind of figured out. And then it altered the course of the narrative and where it ended up.
You really think that's what happened with the writers?
For all the reasons you're saying, for the reasons that Gilda, aside from the obvious I want more time with my husband angle, which again we saw in Identity Crisis.
Did she I feel like reference was made earlier in the story about them wanting to settle down and have kids.
Yeah.
So all the motive is there. I feel like they were planting that shit.
She definitely
earlier.
has the motive, absolutely.
Yeah.
But my whole thing was the skill and technical ability to pull these things off.
And see, the way I see that, especially when I saw that reveal, and I was like, oh, that actually makes sense. Who else would know how to do all that stuff other than a DA's wife? Because she's observant. She's seen this stuff. She's seen all these cases that he's.
That's why I think she's because we know that Alberto was kind of shunned to the back. Yeah, he was around crime a lot, but he was kind of shunned to the back, much like Michael in the first or Fredo also in the first Godfather. but he's been around the crime to know what's
Yeah,
going
he's
on.
seen it,
Gilda has
yeah.
been around a person who studies crime for a living.
Yeah.
So I can see her picking up some clues.
And I kind of walk back what I said a second ago, because there is a scene early on in the first chapter where the killer is prepping the gun and the nipple, like, and it's obviously taking place in Dent's basement, right?
Yeah.
Because we see that basement later, and everything is right there: the vise, the grinder, the
background.
tools on the
Yeah.
walls.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, there you go. I mean, there's some evidence that
And there's because it takes that in a whole new context now. Because initially you think Harvey is messing with this stuff, and he, of course, when we thought he was the holiday killer, but then you realize, oh, wait a minute, maybe Gilda was. You find out Gilda was the one that was down in this workshop doing all this work. This could have literally been like some of the evidence Harvey was bringing down to the basement, and she discovers it, and and.
Do we have a definitive number on kill counts for Alberto, Two-Face, and Gilda?
Gilda is
first
Halloween,
three, right?
Gilda is Thanksgiving, and Gilda is Christmas. Everything after that is Alberto.
Because that was where Alberto was trying to cover his tracks and
Right.
Is Christmas Alberto or is Christmas Gilda?
Christmas was Gilda.
Yeah.
I think.
So-
But the thing, and I mean, this is why, like, I think the ending does kind of work for me, because it's the moment where Gilda thinks that Dent did all the killings after her.
Right.
And that's like, oh man, what a bummer for her. You know? Like,
Yeah, like no
Like-
one ends up with definitive answers by the end of this story.
right. Like she thinks she understands what she's done, but like she believes that her husband kind of took it up and
Yeah.
kept it on. And it's just been this
She believes in
unspoken thing
Harvey Dent.
between the two of them for months and months and months.
Right.
And Harvey knew. Harvey definitely knew.
And I think that,
How do you-
I think that the final line is also really, really great.
How do you guys feel about the fact that she's packing up, moving out, what have you, and Harvey's in Arkham? Does she not know his fate? Does she never go to visit? Is
That's
she
a good
done with that life?
question.
All right,
Like-
so I don't believe. All right, so I don't believe we ever see Gilda again. But in Dark Victory, she does come up in Dark Victory, and it's another line I really, really remember from Dark Victory, where somebody brings her up to Two-Face and he says, "Who the hell is Gilda?"
Yeah. So we know Two-Face is
He's
thoughts on
gone.
Gilda.
He's gone full
criminal.
Two-Face at that point. But I don't think she ever comes back.
That's a wasted character.
Yeah, because it feels like the two of them basically became almost like Gotham's version of Bonnie and Clyde, more or less. To where, of course, we know Two-Face is unhinged. We know Gilda's kind of probably off too.
Yeah.
Like she could have been just another one of the Gotham rogues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
was
at least Jean Loring was called to task for the things that she did wrong in
Right.
Identity Crisis, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like we caught her. Nobody catches Gilda.
Nobody even
she
suspects her except Harvey.
Yeah, Gil Gordon was at her house.
Yes.
Shitty Detective Gordon.
Detective
No
Gordon.
wonder they need a
detective
Batman.
work.
He is a sloppy.
He's like
He beats
Chief
Batman.
Wiggum. He's like like Bart Simpson's like, oh, I'd hate to tell the number one cop in town how to do his job, and Wiggum's like, no, go ahead. It's the only way I'll learn.
It's like he became the version of Jim Gordon and Harley Quinn, just like
Yeah, just an idiot. Overall, Jermon, as far as the Batman stories you've read throughout the years, where would you say the Long Halloween stacks up? Where does it rank?
it's definitely up there, man. I think it's definitely in the conversation with Dark Knight Returns.
Ooh,
Like 1A, 1B. It's definitely up there. Like it's definitive Batman stories.
pretty much. Not pretty much everyone, but a number of people I know that puts the Dark Knight Returns as their number one,
Yeah.
has the Long Halloween as their
Yeah.
number two, and I'm flipped. I'm Long Halloween 1 and
I
Dark
would
Knight Returns.
like.
number two.
I would definitely, if somebody was just getting into Batman, and if at this point you're just getting into Batman, where the hell have you been? But
and also, why you're listening to this?
Yes, but I would definitely now after reading this, I would just definitely suggest Long Halloween to read first because I mean it pretty much gives you everything you need to know about Batman and
You said
his
it's a good
rogues
intro
gallery.
to
Yeah,
Batman?
yeah.
Okay. I would say, I agree. This is a great intro into
Yeah.
Batman.
It's
We'll talk
a very flawed Batman. I mean, he gets brought in by the wiles of Poison Ivy and Catwoman. He's distracted from his work. He suspects Harvey of the wrongdoing, but still tries to hide it. So he has that bias there as well. So it shows a very human, very flawed individual. I mean, this is kind of in that year one phase anyway.
This is what Dave is here. He's here to ground us and make
Yes.
sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense, Dave. It's it is a flawed Batman, and you're right. It is. This is like a literal continuity of the Batman year one. So this is early Batman, where he still has those biases and prejudices, and the distractions. But I feel like the Batman that the people know is is seasoned veteran,
Right.
Like
Perfect.
new 52 Batman who already knows to avoid all those traps and is prepped and he is prepared for all those occasions. Brian, where does it stack up for you as far as
3.
This is 3.
This is number 3.
Is 1 and 2? Because I know Dave said you want to talk about other Batman stories later on. Are your 1 and 2s in there?
No, not in the ones I'd recommend because they're the obvious choices. I think for me, it's Dark Knight Returns, and Year One are the 2 tops. Those it's hard for me to conceive of better Batman stories than those 2. But this does what those 2 stories don't, and that is provide really truly iconic versions of all of these characters. Whether it's Batman, whether it's Joker, whether it's like these stark kind of Batman the Animated Series influenced kind of idealized versions of these characters. The Riddler, Catwoman, all of them. And big props to, he hadn't turned up prior to this issue, but Tim Sale's Penguin is fucking great.
Yeah.
Like just a row of sharp teeth, midget, midget with a monocle.
You see him standing on Falcone's desk, right?
Right,
Yeah,
and he still doesn't. He's still not as tall as anybody else in the room. Like he's just a shrimp.
Like a child.
I love Tim Sale's Penguin.
Yeah,
just what. Like if you take the top hat off, he's still shorter than the Joker and everybody
Matt
else.
Hatter, of all people, he's like,
How are you shorter than the Mad Hatter?
I love that guy.
And then, lead into that probably is my favorite panel.
oh,
of this
mine
book.
too. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that whole spread, 2-page spread.
That's the money shot for the whole
whole series.
issue. Like that would have been, if I could have had that as a poster on my wall in college, it would have been like just Joker saying trick or treat and the entire assembled rogues gallery there. What
All the heavy
what a
hitters,
spread.
too.
And Two-Face still in shadow. Like we still at this point have not seen Two-Face's actual face.
Yeah.
And he draws like some of those villains with no less than like 56 teeth.
The Joker still has
Joker is
56
still
It's all teeth.
like
yeah.
Joker got some of those teeth knocked out.
Yeah, and he still has
He's
like
still sporting. He's like a shark. It's like there's just rows of teeth waiting to come in behind the ones that get knocked out.
Dave, what's your favorite panel from this whole run?
I'm going to show you guys. I initially wanted to go with the Rogues Gallery splash page of Trick or Treat,
yeah.
but instead I went with this one. I'll show you guys first.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's of Two-Face saying, "You're the ones who are going to need help from now on."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
I really do love the 2 shots to the head callback.
Yeah.
Also
couple
with
of
him
callbacks
with
in
him
this.
standing over the dead body of the Roman, and if you ask me, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And the smoke from the gun separating his face,
Slitting the face.
wonderful. It's like
Beautiful.
I don't know. Tim Sale just did the work. He put the work in on this final issue, man.
Yeah, that's a great callback. Also, the Gordon Two-Face Batman on the rooftop.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So this is like the last time we'll all be together.
Yeah, and in somewhat civility.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know why, I love that Harvey still has enough sense of who he was to just willingly turn himself over
Right.
to the cops.
he's too
Because he
far
knows.
gone.
He's like, let the system decide.
Yeah.
He knows the system is going to throw him in Arkham, and he knows he can get out, though.
Yeah, and he realized, because I think he finally, like I say, had that moment where he was at the bar or wherever. He realized what he's done. He's like, because he was like, I've already killed 2 people. And it's like, there's no going back after this.
Yeah, yeah, and he knows that.
There was definitely some. There's definitely some, some moments that were used in the Dark Knight. Of course, like Harvey in the bar, and then the whole thing with Batman as I guess they flipped it, kind of Batman as the SWAT team member.
Yep.
The reveal.
They flipped that. Also, the Gordon, Harvey, and Batman on the rooftop.
Yeah.
With
kind of like they're meeting towards the end.
And even the ending at the construction site at the end, is a lot like this final meeting among the three of them.
Yeah. So much good stuff happened on this. What is you guys' favorite overall part of this series? Like, when you think of the Long Halloween, what's some of the first stuff that comes to your head?
I always go back to New Year's. The New Year's issue to me is maybe the best point of the whole series, where the Joker's got the plane, and it's some of the best artwork. I absolutely love that. When I think Long Halloween, I think of that issue specifically as being like the peak of the series. I just like Happy New Year, Joker. Like it's just a great moment.
Damn! So it peaks there, and then you still have
and the Alberto
9 shitty issues.
I mean, no. I like the whole series, honestly, but that. The Alberto murder, which is, again, you look back at it and it does play out differently than every single murder that you've seen up to. And since that point, the scene in the kitchen with Gordon and Dent, there's a lot of foreshadowing there. But really, the Batman versus the Joker.
Oh, yeah.
And that 2-page spread of Land the Plane Now.
Yeah.
Just, to me, I always go back to that.
Right on. What about you, Dave?
Besides any panel with Sofia Gigante.
Oh, man, she takes a plunge in this.
I don't think she's dead.
Yeah. We haven't found a body.
Good call. She's not.
Very good call. Very good call.
I would say in this series, the thing that stood out to me the most was the flirtatious back and forth between Batman and Catwoman. This is one of the best stories, I think, that illustrates their illicit affairs.
Yeah.
If not the best. I think that Tom King tried to capitalize on that a bit in his run, but I don't think it's done as deftly as it was.
No.
I mean,
in
the only
these
other
issues.
time I've seen their romance done super well was in the animated series.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Which you
Very
have not
similar.
yet seen yet.
Nope.
You bastard. You need to have a palate cleanser after all of this and start watching the animated series.
Just watch the what Almost Got Him episode.
Oh, yeah. That was
Because
really good.
that manages to capture every single villain or most of the rogues gallery in rare form, and you get that Catwoman moment at the end that is just so goddamn. It is one of the best scripts for any television episode I've ever seen.
Well, you'll get more of that in the Tom King Batman Catwoman run that is slated to start
Pretty soon,
December.
I think, yeah.
December?
That's December,
Slated to
yeah.
start in December, man. So I think he left the main Batman run to go do this, right?
I think
Something like
something like
something
that.
like
Let's
that.
just say
There's-
something
they
like
saw
that.
those
There's
sales
debate
were
on,
those sales were going down.
There's debate on what initiated.
Yeah,
his
it's like we
departure.
need you out and we need someone to come in and write a big Joker story right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, James Tynion the Fourth. We're gonna come in here and get this shit started. I think after Batman issue 50, Tom King was like, I'm running on fumes here. He's like, I got an idea. Leads up to this, and then after this,
How do you guys feel about a courtroom drama? The best.
Yeah,
It was the best
that's-
part of his run, I think.
You think this is like a
I
two
think
issue?
that
business?
2 or 3 issues with the Mr. Freeze,
The 12 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men of Batman was
Yeah,
great.
It is. And then that's where everything fell off for me.
Yeah.
Because I think this is the Cold Days trade.
Yeah.
And things just kind of. And then I think he builds up to the City of Bane after that. And I'm like, I just don't care at this point. I don't care. All right, right on. You guys got anything else to talk about for the long way?
I think we have to talk about Vernon a little bit.
Thank
Rat
you, sir.
ass Vernon.
When I got to this part, I was reading this morning. I read in my Jamon voice that bitch ass Vernon.
You know what? That was my seeing that. Seeing them call back to that and all that, and seeing Vernon finally get his. That was almost like On Your Left to me. Like I cheered. I jumped up and fucking cheered. I was like, yes, he finally got his.
Finally got his.
If you look at the
That
page,
slimy-
when Batman has gone in to see the dead body of Vernon laying on the desk, Batman's like clearly smiling, right? I mean, like he's like grinning ear to ear pretty much.
He's like, I don't condone this, but
He's removing evidence from the crime scene. That's how much he doesn't give a shit.
I wish there was a word balloon that said "bitch" there.
It's like, I don't condone this, but if he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies. Right on. Yeah, I'm glad that Vernon finally fucking got his. Like that needed to happen.
Oh, yes.
Is this the definitive Two-Face story?
I would think so.
Yes.
'Cause
Like
I
Two-Face
can't
had been around for a while before this.
Yeah, but I literally can't think of any other Two-Face stories.
Me either. And
That are
Two-Face
this
is my
good.
favorite Batman.
Well, Two-Face had a really good run in the animated series.
He did.
As well.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
Yeah.
The thing I
telling
love-
you, I mean, you should watch the entire first 2 seasons of the
There's,
animated
I know,
Yes.
there's probably only a matter of time before it ends up dropping on HBO Max once they fold
Yeah, that's
DC
true.
Universe into
into HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And
But you've been given the entire series, all right?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh Jesus! What?
The coolest thing about
Paprika,
Two-Face and Dent on the animated series is that you get a good couple of episodes where he appears just as Harvey Dent. And so like when Two-Face shows up, it's really, really powerful. And that Two-Face two-parter where he actually transforms is great.
Did
stuff.
they have Gilda? Didn't they have Gilda in it?
No, her name was Grace.
Okay.
Her name was Grace, and actually, he was pretty much a swinging bachelor when the series started, and so his first appearance, he's just there in the room, and it's great. It's in the pilot episode on Leather Wings, and the first time you see Dent, you see him from the back sitting in a chair, and he's just flipping a coin, and it's Dent.
Yeah.
And then he shows up again in the first Poison Ivy episode.
Oh yeah, because they're
on a date.
Yeah, because they made reference to that in that later episode. That they
Ian
used-
Almost Got Him.
Yeah.
They make a reference to it.
Yeah, what they
half
used
of
to
me wants
date.
to kill you. What does
Yeah.
the other half want? To hit you with a truck. I'm telling you, one of the best scripts ever. But then you get the Two-Face two-parter where Grace and him are engaged or in a serious relationship, and then it all falls apart. So
All falls down.
because there's literally a portion in there where he's talking to her after the accident, and he has like a little like a cloth or something over half of his face, trying to cover it up or whatever when he's talking to her.
the lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. I'll get to it. I will
Good
get
stuff.
to it eventually.
Good stuff.
All right, then. So we got a couple other things to talk about here. Okay, yeah, we got time. I know, Brian, you want to talk about so let's put a pin on this. The Long Halloween. Dave, you have any final thoughts on it, man?
I thought it's a great series. I recommend it to everyone. Again, it's not without some flaws, but it's highly entertaining and very satisfying.
Right on. Like that. John, what's your final thoughts?
This is probably easily the best work that Jeff Loeb's ever done. Easily.
It is.
Fair enough.
He's been hit or miss over the years, but yeah, this is definitely one of the hits. Like,
Okay.
It's peak Loeb, and I really do recommend going to Dark Victory after this. It's a pretty solid sequel. There is, instead of the Holiday Killer, you've got the Hangman. The first issue of Dark Victory actually brings into, well, this Loeb continuity anyway, Chief O'Hara from the 60s Batman TV series.
wow.
Which was kind of cool. And really, if the Long Halloween is all about Gotham's transition from the mob to costume criminals, the Dark Victory story is all about Batman's redemption from the darkness by Robin. And it's a pretty solid story. The murder mystery is pretty good. And Sophia Gigante is back
in
with this
rare form.
big ass like neck brace metal thing on her, because she definitely broke her neck.
The one thing I don't know if I ever noticed before I read it this morning is, in year one, she gives Carmine the scratches to the face. I didn't realize that before Sophia starts freaking out, which leads to her crash through the window, Catwoman also gives her the same 3 scratches to the face. I don't think I ever recognized that before.
Yeah.
She's just scratching up the whole Falcone thing. This is my favorite Batman joint. I've said it a number of times.
I'm actually wondering if that's going to happen in the Pattinson Batman movie, because you have it's John Turturro's playing Carmine Falcone, and you have Catwoman in there. Like,
Look, if I don't get the 3 scratches to the face,
yeah,
That whole movie's a failure to me. It can be nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director. Give me my 3 scratches.
And if you want to see how he got the 3 scratches, you can read Year One.
Year One. Yeah. She snoops around for a reason. All right, then. So, Brian, you want to talk about 3 Jokers?
Oh, God, yeah. 3 Jokers is... Well, we've only gotten 2 issues into 3 Jokers right now.
It's 3 issue.
It's
I
a
think it's
3 issue.
yeah.
We got 2 issues in,
I still
3
gotta
issue
read.
run.
I still got to read the second one.
Yeah,
Oh,
me too.
man.
Me too.
Oh, man.
The first one was like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is, damn, it was good.
You gotta
I mean,
wonder,
it was
like...
a great concept on the Mobius chair. I mean, I was sold back then.
yeah.
Oh, for sure. And I don't know where this series is going. I don't know if it's continuity based. Like the thing, I don't personally care about continuity as much as some other people. I want a good story, especially when it comes to characters, these iconic DC characters like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. I would much rather have a self-contained, really solid story than have it tied to any amount of continuity.
Well, this is DC Black Label. Is Black Label continuity?
Some are, some aren't. Depends.
Yeah, like Batman's dick is definitely in continuity.
Yeah, my man is packing.
But yeah, like I think it's pretty artful, and I would have expected this after, say, Doomsday Clock, which Jeff Johns also wrote. Now he's doing 3 Jokers, and it is very much an homage and an extension of Killing Joke.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
like
yes.
the way the panel progression and everything.
he's still
is
not
set
the
up.
panel.
Even the covers are like kind of evocative of that Killing Joke cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the concept of more than one Joker running around. And the things they've done with it so far have put the Bat family in some pretty harrowing situations. So.
Yeah, I love the fact that there's more than one Joker. I hate the fact that Batman is just now realizing it.
Yeah,
Although
the world's greatest detective.
Yeah.
Well, is Detective Chimp. I mean, this has been clarified, and I think the Injustice run where someone says we got to bring in the world's greatest detective, and they think it's Batman, but then Detective Chimp walks in, and you're like, well, it must be Detective Chimp.
It's like Mr. Terrific's the 3rd smartest man on Earth. It's like, who the fuck cares then?
There's actually a great Mr. Terrific little bit in that Strange Adventures.
Yeah, there
series.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, right on.
Also from Black Label.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't this get teed up like 4 years ago?
It was a long time
I think the
coming.
Rebirth one shot, they kind of teased that.
It was because it was
Yes.
because of the Mobius chair, and Batman sits in it, and his question is who is the Joker, and
Yeah.
his is like, holy shit, and then we
are
find
3,
out later
yeah.
there's 3 of them.
That's like I thought because if you think about it for a minute, it's terrifying enough having the Joker running around. He's so unpredictable. You don't know where his mind state is or what he's going to do. But to think there are 3 of them running around now, it's like,
right.
They're manufacturing more.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's part of the point of the book is that they're trying to usher in. It's kind of like the Sith. It's like you've got to get one to replace the one we lost,
Yeah.
and they're trying to shepherd him in.
And you said you haven't read 2, right, Dave?
Right.
yeah. I haven't read 2 either.
And you
yet.
haven't read 2. Okay.
2 is all about that.
That's what
I'm gonna
2
read.
is
I'm gonna
actually
read
about.
2 today.
Yeah,
'Cause,
somewhat specific that they are trying to usher into this whole bit of business.
I think I have a bit of an idea of who it might be, but yeah,
I think to fully appreciate this business, there are a couple of stories you need to read beforehand. You got to read The Killing Joke beforehand.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely,
100%.
absolutely.
You got to read A Death in the Family beforehand. And
Helps.
you got to read Under the Red Hood.
Oh yeah,
beforehand.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll give
Do you
a
also need to
sense.
watch the uncut Batman Beyond?
Oh
With
God,
the-
yeah,
yeah.
Return of the Joker.
George, yeah,
Yeah.
Joker. 'Cause
That's-
That's
stuff,
actually
too.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Right on.
And it's very much a similar kind of story.
Yeah.
As far as what 3 Jokers is going for, yeah,
Right.
I hadn't even
Yeah.
thought about that, Dave. But you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I mean, I thought when he was talking to Nightwing, I was like, oh, okay, I see.
And this is 3 specific. Like this is the Killing Joke Joker. This is the Death in the Family Joker, but I cannot remember. I don't know who his
The
third
other Joker is pretty much like the old school, like
it Dark
the
Knight
Cesar
Returns,
Romero
or-
Joker.
No,
not that.
It's like
God,
it's like the
that's
old
One of them
school,
was in the white suit. It was like
the old school mobster Joker from like the 40s.
The
Like
criminal
that's
Joker.
Yeah, like that's the he's like the older one, and you can tell he's the oldest of them. Just like he looks, he's wrinkly. He's like, and he's not very funny.
No, he's about his crime.
I'll also mention this because they touched on this about the Jared Leto Joker, that he wasn't the actual Joker, but he was actually
inspired.
Robin,
Oh.
the previous Robin that Batman had.
That's
that
right.
twisted
Yeah,
that
there
way.
was that suggestion.
Yeah, 'cause he was younger. He was just not the same type of
That
Joker. He was
was-
a different type
I
of Joker.
do remember that now because
Yeah.
there were like tattoos on his torso
Yeah.
that when they looked at the Robin costume in the
yeah,
case,
the-
it was
the
like,
bullet
oh,
holes.
those could have been the bullet holes or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the most interesting Jared Leto's Joker has ever been.
See, between
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I like the concept of it.
I
mean,
love the
Yeah.
concept of it. The
Yeah.
execution, I don't think that's what they were
Between-
ultimately
yeah.
going for. And I think
Between-
the fan community kind of put two and two together, and it was better than what they came up with.
Yeah, between BVS and Suicide Squad, they alluded to a much better Batman movie that existed out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. You throw Zack Snyder another $40 million, and I'm sure he'll make it. He'll put
See,
it
the
all up in
interest-
his-
Right.
Yeah,
Snyder cut my ass.
Right.
Reshoots.
He just
The
milked them for
greatest
$70 million.
trick that
man.
Snyder ever pulled.
Who is it now? It's like Joe Manganiello is in,
He's back
in
as
it-
Deathstroke now?
and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is not a Snyder cut. Can we all just agree this is not the Snyder
No,
cut? It's
this
just
is
a
a
completely
new movie.
redo.
Yeah. There is no Snyder cut.
See, it was
It's interesting that I mean, as far as the movie industry, as far as these superhero movies are concerned, at least, that they're filming enough for like 2 or 3 different movies,
right.
but then they congeal it down to just to one, whatever they.
Well,
decide
they're
on.
gonna make 4 1-hour joints.
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
release. So.
And then I guess eventually drop the whole thing as one after the
No, they
episodic
have to.
stuff.
They
yeah.
have to. And I feel like he probably has like a 2-hour, 2.5, maybe 3 hours Snyder cut, and then he's filling in another hour's worth of stuff. So
I mean,
there'll
we're
be
talking
some-
about the Snyder cut. Have you guys seen the Snyder cut of Batman vs Superman?
You mean the ultimate?
The
cut?
The ultimate cut. That's
Yeah.
the only version I ever saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's the only version I saw. And I saw it.
That was
all right,
so good compared to the theatrical.
And I never
Theatrical was
watched the
garbage.
theatrical, and I
That
was like, "This sucks." So I'm really afraid to watch the theatrical version. But like, I was going to bring this up. We just recorded "Choose Our Own Adventure" over this, before this, and somebody brings up spoilers. Human Centipede, which the first time I watched Human Centipede was after my very first colonoscopy.
Yes.
Like recovering from a
Great
colonoscopy,
time
I
to watch
watched
that.
Human Centipede. The second time I got a colonoscopy, and I'm a young guy, I've had 2 colonoscopies. It's fine. But
You got a clean butt, Brian. That's all
I
you need to
do.
know.
it's spit shined, and but the second
Some might think you're
colonoscopy.
going back for a little bit of a pleasure this time around.
Oh yeah, hey. Second colonoscopy, I followed it up with Batman v Superman. The very first time I'd ever watched it.
So when the Snyder cut drops next year,
I got to get
you
another
know-
colonoscopy.
You gotta clean it
They're
out.
like, but sir, it's only been 2 years. I'm like, colonoscopy up, fill me with gas, and check it out because
Check
I
it
need
out.
to watch the Snyder cut.
All right, let's wind this bad boy down. I think, Dave, it was your idea that we give suggestions that if you like the Long Halloween and you like some Batman shit, other Batman that's out there to check out. What would you have? I got 3 suggestions.
I got 3 as well.
All right, then kick us off, Dave.
All right, so the first would be the first Batman comic I've ever read.
Detective Comics number 1.
No, not Detective.
I don't think he popped up till 27.
It was Detective. It was Detective Comics 540 in July 1984. Scarecrow's New Method.
Okay. Okay.
And this 2-issue cross-title story, the dynamic duo battled the Scarecrow and his new fear broadcasting machine. The story doesn't really add to the Scarecrow's Batman villain character in any specific way, but there is something undeniably cool about the Batman comics of this period. So it covers Batman 373 and Detective Comics 540. Now, I read Detective 540 originally.
Okay.
My second would be the entire Gotham Central series.
Oh yeah,
The short-
that's a good one. That's a
Brubaker,
good one.
yeah.
Yes, I thought about putting
the,
that.
the
one.
Rucka.
the short-lived,
Greg Rucka.
but incredibly awesome. And Batman doesn't even feature super heavily in it. He's just, of course, he's just there.
It's just a straight crime joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the entire run of the Batman Zur-En-Arr series.
Oh, the Morrison run.
Yeah.
That's the one that happens right before the Snyder joint, right?
Yeah.
Zur-En-Arr,
Batman R.I.P. Yeah.
Yeah, Zur-En-Arr is for those of you who don't know, is a backup Batman persona that Batman had actually stored and created within his own psyche, so that if he were ever mentally compromised, as he was in this series, he would have a backup Batman character to continue the duties to get him back on track.
Yeah.
The fact that Morrison made that goofy ass costume makes sense. Like,
Not only that, but he also made Zur-En-Arr make sense.
yeah.
Like Zur-En-Arr actually means something by the end of that run, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's pretty clever, man.
Grant Morrison. That man is
Yes.
a wild Scott.
He I think he got most of the ideas from some seance he did one time.
He was doing peyote and was like, "Yeah, let me get my notepad."
My cousin messaged me one time and was like, she lived out in San Diego and she worked at a restaurant. And she was like, yeah, Comic-Con was huge this year, and like I waited on this guy. He had this huge entourage, and I don't know, he writes Batman and he's bald, and I was like, holy fucking shit, you waited on Grant Morrison. You know?
and she understood what he was talking about when he ordered
I don't think she did, but but he took care of her. So
Hey, there you go. Done and done. Javon, do you have any suggestions for anything?
Oh yeah. Definitely got to go with the Court of Owls, man. That was probably the highlight of Snyder's Batman run. Like to finally see Batman, like, because Batman was always on top of everything, at all times, except during that time. Like when he finds out there's literally a whole society of villains that were running Gotham that he knew nothing about, and like. It just turned everything upside down for him, like literally at one point.
and named after an animal.
You guys heard that comic, right?
Yeah.
Turning the pages.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God, yeah, that was
Yeah.
crazy.
So great.
Loved it.
I've never experienced anything like that in a comic ever.
And also named after an animal that eats bats.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Good idea, Scott.
Yeah, that, and then I think one of my favorite runs on Batman was probably was the Grant Morrison run, but a couple of stories from that run that really stuck out to me was his initial run on Batman and Robin. You had Dick Grayson and
so
Damian
much fucking
taking,
fun.
yes,
So much fun. Professor Pig.
yeah, and just exploring their relationship was something else. Damian is a little shit, and he had
At all
like
times.
zero respect for.
And Dick does not want to be a
initially.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and then probably one of my favorites was Batman Inc.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a very interesting take on the Batman mythos. Like it in ways it made sense too. Like Bruce Wayne finally coming out and saying, "Hey, I've been funding the Batman operation for all these years, and let's franchise it."
What was the name of the storyline in Morrison's run where they were all on where all the Batmen
Oh yeah,
were on that, like in that mansion on that island?
yeah.
Right? Was it like the Black Hand or something like that?
I think it's MILF Island.
MILF Island, yeah. That was a really great part of Morrison's run. I love, and that's where you got to
Knight
meet a lot of
Squire
these
and-
international ones.
yeah.
Knight and Squire, love those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Man of Bats and like Man of Bats. That was the funny thing initially reading Batman Inc. I was like, they have all these international Batmen and different Batman. Is like there's a possibility that this can get problematic at certain points depending on like
Yeah.
because when they did the Native American Batman, I was like,
yeah.
this might
getting close.
yeah.
For me, I brought 3 along. You brought up Court of Owls, and I'm going to say the Scott Snyder run. If you've never read Batman, that is a great place to do an entire. If you want to get your one-offs, that's cool. But if you want to read a run of an author on Batman, Scott Snyder, specifically volumes 1 through 5, if you're reading them in trade, and then volume 7. Skip 6. I think 6 is the Graveyard Shift. That's
Was
what the
6
one-offs.
the one with the? Oh, okay.
I'm thinking of 0 Year.
I was thinking
That's 4 and 5.
Okay.
I was thinking of where is Robo Gordon?
That's 8.
Okay.
And that's why I say stop at 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little
Because 7 is Endgame, and that's his big showdown with
yeah,
the Joker.
yeah.
That eventually leads to like memory loss and all that kind of shit. And that's
I'm-
where Robo Gordon comes in. And it's just not as good. But the thing about it is that the Robo Gordon sucks, but their villain Bloom is an amazing.
Oh yeah.
Bloom,
oh
Mr.
yeah.
Bloom was great.
I wanted a Batman versus a Bloom.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Dave?
I'm surprised none of you chose the goddamn Batman.
Oh God. Frank Miller
I'll call my goddamn car the goddamn Batmobile if I goddamn feel like it.
I think that was the only series that really highlighted how insane Batman really is.
You know what I love? Insane Frank Miller is.
My favorite issue of that is when it is so stupid. It is such a stupid issue when Robin and Batman lock the Green Lantern in an all yellow room and beat the shit out of him.
They paint themselves yellow.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Oh, Frank Miller.
That was insane.
That was like cocaine fueled.
I also want to bring up Batman Earth 1. Volumes 1 and 2, also written by Jeff Johns, who is writing the 3 Jokers we were just talking about. The whole purpose of the Earth 1...
We were searching, the hero, like the Minicon, to get that trade, I think.
Yes. The whole purpose of the Earth 1 series is revamping origin stories if they happen now in a modern day. So you got Batman Earth 1, Superman Earth 1, a couple volumes of those. Teen Titans Earth 1, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was very good.
I've been trying to track down those
horrible.
I love the Wonder Woman one.
Hated it.
I've been trying to track down those Green Lantern ones because they look. I mean, the premise looks pretty cool. Like
it is. It's fun, man. It's fun. It's written by the same team that did an Image comic, a sci-fi comic that I really liked, and I was like, oh, these cats are doing Green Lantern. I really fucking dug it, and they said they're going to do volume 2 here soon.
I think it dropped recently. I think.
Yes. I love the New 52 Wonder Woman.
That was really
good.
But before the Finches took over.
As Azraello and Cliff Chang.
Chang. Oh, that was so great.
Yeah.
And the Finches took over, and she just became a fucking pinup girl.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Cliff Chang jumped ship and went to do Paper Girl. TV show coming soon. Brian, what and the Batman Earth 1 is it's where they got I think a little bit of inspiration for that Alfred Pennyworth, that former special ops badass. They highlight that a lot in Earth 1 as well. Brian, what you got?
So we talked a lot about Scott Snyder's run. I think I would recommend reading Scott Snyder's first run on Batman, which happened in Detective Comics 871 through 881. The
trial period, is that called?
The Black Mirror story arc, where Dick Grayson was Batman during that time. Yeah. But some great, honest to God, detective comics in there. Some awesome artwork. Jock and Francisco Francavilla did the art on that series, and great stuff. If you've been to a Hot Topic in the last 7 or 8 years and you've seen that picture on a T-shirt of the Joker created, the Joker's face created completely out of bats, that was a cover during this run. It was the cover of 880, I think. So a lot of people have seen images from this run, but may not have read it because I think that New 52 stuff ended up overshadowing it. So
you can get Black Mirror as a trade as well, sitting on my bookshelf.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. The other one of the first Batman stories I read as a kid was probably Nightfall.
That big bastard.
Yes.
Which is, it's not great, but the concept behind it is terrific. So Bane had been on the scene for about a year at that point, and his big thing was to break the inmates out of Arkham all on the same night. Batman gets wore the fuck out, running around town trying to wrangle and corral all of them, and then by the time he gets home and he's just beat to shit, he comes home, he takes off his costume, and Bane is there. And now it's time to fight Bane. So the first, I would say, 11 parts of that storyline are awesome. And then from there on, after Batman's back breaks, it's all about who's going to fill the power vacuum, what's going to happen to Gotham, and how is Jean-Paul going to rise up and become the new
Jean-Paul Valley
metal Batman.
It's like seeing Trump come into power. It's hey, this shows exactly what we're missing from this entire. We need to have a better structure in place for replacement Batman. Going forward, this is not going well.
So I think the first, especially 11 or 12 parts of Nightfall, are really, really fantastic. And then the other thing I would recommend is the Mask of the Phantasm animated movie from the animated series run, which is maybe still the best Batman movie we've ever gotten.
I disagree.
You disagree.
It's great.
I've never seen it.
You haven't seen the animated
Yeah.
series, you wouldn't know. But yeah.
I don't like my square chin Batman.
No, Mask of the Phantasm is really, really something special.
Okay, all right,
Great stuff.
Yeah. Watch the series. Watch the first 2 seasons of Batman, then watch Mask.
And
of the
then watch
Phantasm.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
All right then, and that's gonna wrap it up, man. We have put an end to the long Halloween.
Oh man.
And a long Halloween it has been in this year of 2020. Thanks for joining us in this whole run, man. I'd like to thank the Jim Gordon to my Batman, Mr. Brian Martin.
Word.
Thank you very much. The
I believe in
Alfred
Gotham.
Pennyworth to my Batman, Mr. Ninja Dave, and the Dick Grayson to my Batman, Mr. Jermon Jackson himself.
Yes.
And that's gonna do it, man. Take it easy, and you guys have a good one out there.